Some of you have been emailing me and dropping comments to talk about some of the predictions that I have made about earthquakes for 2025. And we see in the press today that there's been a huge, great earthquake in Russia, 8.8 on the Richter scale, in the off the coast of Russia. And you'll note that some of my predictions, I've spoken about this before. I've spoken about a huge earthquake that would happen north of Japan. So I thought I'd show some of those clips for you today and put some of the predictions together for the earthquakes that I predicted. But also to say, some of you worry about these things. Just because there's been a huge earthquake off Russia doesn't mean to say that it's going to cause such a gigantic tsunami that it will cause devastation around the world. But it does look like the prediction I made about the Pacific Ring earthquake does seem to sort of ring true now from what we can see. And whether this triggers more earthquakes or not, we'll have to wait and see. And whether it also triggers the earthquake I saw for Vesuvius coming up as well. So I've made those predictions. We did already have kind of the Vesuvius quake. It was right bang next to Vesuvius. There's an area there called Campi Fregre, if I've got it pronounced right. Sorry, Italians, I pronounce everything wrong, don't I? Campi Fregre, I think it's pronounced, which is a huge sort of earthquake zone, which worried us because we heard because we got the place in Italy, and the Italians were worried about that earlier this year. So that might have happened too. But I thought, well, let's put the clips together from the ones I've made this year, and you can make up your own mind. Has the one that I predicted just happened, or is it a prelude to something more? Let's wait and see. And again, sadly, I felt as if there's going to be some activity with the volcanoes in particularly around Vesuvius. Maybe not the big explosion like Pompeii, but tremors of some sort. And that might be on my mind because my grandson, who is a bit autistic, gets fixated on things, and he's fixated on Pompeii all the time at the moment. So I don't know if that's being pushed into my mind, but I felt, is he onto something actually? Because sometimes he says things that make us shocked, and it's like from the mouth of a child. Sometimes you think, wow, has he seen something? There's a big one coming off the coast of Japan. Japan's kind of a mega quake that I was talking about in that video. I saw sort of and I also felt simultaneously that would be eruptions around the world at the same time. California would be affected by this too. Not the sweeping earthquake that they had in the past in California, but I feel there's some serious concerns there at the same time. And I saw like a gas cloud, like when I said China there, I saw that gas cloud. So there's this gas cloud of some sort in the east, which may be from volcanic or something happening, because that's what I saw, and that thing will move. It'll be important to know which direction it takes. I feel as if there's an earthquake in the Northern Ireland, and this is all tied up with what's happening, with a big one happening in Japan. I don't see this as devastating and flattening cities or anything. I mean, I don't feel unsafe with this, but I feel as if there's higher than usual worries about an earthquake in the Northern Island of New Zealand. But I don't want to sound alarm bells and everybody start panicking and not going there and things like that. But Japan is the concerning one to me. But I feel as if it's ricocheted through to parts of New Zealand as well. And I've also, in my predictions, I've also said that this year I saw big earthquake coming. Now, could that be coming soon? Could that be also coming soon on top of this? Because that was what I was seeing before. And like I say, like that Santa Monica, where I thought the pier was going up on fire, that was obviously symbolic perhaps of Santa Monica going up on fire, because the fires are right on the doorstep of Santa Monica. And in my 2025 prediction, remember I said I saw Paris on fire, a city on fire, and I thought it was Paris. Maybe this was this. I don't know. Or maybe there's something more to come. But these things are a bit scary for everybody. Of course they are, because but I feel there might be more on its way. So I made my earthquake predictions earlier on. So let's hope I'm wrong. But we see these things through a mirror darkly. As I always say to you, I can't see it all. And you say, oh, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that, Craig? No, I get bits and pieces. And if I can put it together, I'm almost can find out what I'm talking about. And you're never quite sure. Kind of symbolic about something's going to happen. There's going to be some rumbles here. There's something happening. I felt they were running underground, actually. So I don't know if there's also some connection with earthquakes. With this as well yet to come. There might be something like that. In fact, actually, just before we go on to the Syria thing, one of the other predictions I made is that there's going to be a major earthquake around both sides of the Pacific Rim, as it were. And I noticed last week there was both an eruption, not eruption, but an earthquake in Alaska. And one of my clients from Taiwan rang me to say they just had seismic activity there in Taiwan as well. Which makes me wonder if this is something that's happening around the world. I get the feeling we're going to have a period ahead of a lot of earthquakes coming up in the near future, and certainly through 2025. In my predictions at the beginning of the year, I spoke about that I felt there's going to be a real big one around Japan. I still hold to that. I feel that something is going to be. I saw it in the Pacific somewhere, and I felt it was like all round. I mean, Pacific's a huge area, so I've got pretty good odds, I suppose you could say. But it is like that. I felt as if there was something, a big plate move that affected right over from America to Japan. So that might be similar to what I've been talking about. I felt as if there was going to be some pretty huge earth movements in 2025, and this will affect places like Guam, yes, and the Philippines, and I even feel as far as America and Japan. So it's like a big area. So my feel, and I was talking also about, I feel that in 2025, I see this gas cloud, which I've spoken about already on Japanese TV. And I feel something like that's going to happen. And I even, like I said earlier, I even felt like I was having feelings about Vesuvius in Italy. So could the whole world be shaking? Because we've always experienced long periods of very static Earth movements. But if you look at the history of the Earth, and there's been major stuff, and we forget that we've become so arrogant with our civilizations that we think that everything's here going to be the same forever. We're control nature, can we, are we destroying nature? We see ourselves as so huge. It's like Mother Earth could just shake like that, like we're fleas on it, we very few people really think outside the box about the survival of humankind. There's been so many times in our history where humankind has been nearly wiped out, down to the thousands of people, not millions, when in the earlier parts of history. It's amazing that we made it this far. And I think we should be humbled by these thoughts. I don't want to be sort of saying, the end of the world is nigh, sort of thing, but we are vulnerable. That meteorite that was coming towards Earth, they reckon it's a 0% chance of hitting the Earth, right? But how many others are there out there that we should see one in even this period of history? We wouldn't take a lot to really bring us back to the Stone Age again. So I think we should be humbled by the thought. And my feelings are, I would say that thoughts are things. The world we create around us is created a lot by our thoughts. And I think things like Earth movements and things are actually somehow connected with us somehow. I know that's very kind of primitive thinking in some ways, but I still think that's the case. We live in a world that is, I don't think it's a simulation like some say, but it's like a simulation in that everything that exists is part of consciousness and part of mind. And when we see bad things happening around in the world and these things, is that not something that's reflecting what we're sending out as a humanity, that we send out such a lot of negativity Will it not come back as another rumble? Will it not be this worldwide echo chamber? And that if we think in a better way, if we think with more kindness, with more humanity, with more love of nature, and more respect and humility that comes when we see what can happen in the history of the world, and that we should be so grateful that consciousness has made it this far through us, then I think we'd actually create a better world around ourselves. You know, this is all, everything's karma. Everything that exists is karmic in some way or another. Everything that happens to each of us as individuals in life is a reflection of something we've done somewhere along the line before, either in this life or previous lives. It's all an echo of karma coming back. And karma's not always bad. Karma's good and bad. Karma is neutral. But what we give out, we get back. And I definitely feel that happens in our individual lives. And I'm certain that it could also happen on a worldly scale. So think and you become, and think the world thinks and it becomes. So I think we need to start sending up some good stuff and think of it even for future generations, not just ourselves. Who knows what capabilities we have. And this is where the power of prayer comes in, isn't it, really? You know, and the power of visualization, the power of meditation. If the whole world sat down and meditated with a genuine heart, imagine what that could do to the world. It could completely transform things.
So do you like what I have to say? And do you like my work? Well, why don't you support my work? Have a look in the description below to go to my website, find out about psychic readings, find out about our Naadi readings with the Indian Naadi Oracle, buy my books and join my workshops online by Zoom. All there on the website psychics.co.uk.